Jai Gurudev and welcome. Today we have the privilege of speaking with an esteemed officer of the Vedic Dhamma Sansthan and an art of living expert. Thank you for joining us. We are exploring the lessons from the British political satire, the thick of it, and how the wisdom imparted by His Holiness Gurudev Shri Ravi Shankar Ji, alongside the transformative techniques of the art of living, such as meditation, Sudarshan Kriya, Pranayama, and various spiritual practices, can help us navigate the challenges in both politics and personal life. Jagadev, and thank you for having me. It's a fascinating topic to explore, especially considering how much the wisdom from His Holiness Gurudev Shri Shri Ravi Shankar Ji can guide us through the complexities of life, including the high-stakes world of politics. His teaching strengths and boundaries, offering solutions that are universal. Absolutely. Let's dive into the first lesson from the thick of it. One of the prominent themes in the show is overconfidence leading to disastrous outcomes. Gurudev's teachings focus on humility and inner peace. How can art of living techniques help in avoiding the pitfalls of overconfidence? Gurudeva's overconfidence stems from the ego, and Gurudev often speaks about transcending the ego to find true confidence, which is rooted in humility. Techniques like Sudarshan Kriya and Pranayama are powerful tools for calming the mind and balancing emotions. Through consistent practice, one becomes more self aware and less driven by external validation. This self awareness allows us to approach challenges with a sense of humility, understanding that no situation is ever black and white and that we must be open to learning. In the thick of it, characters like Malcolm Tucker demonstrate how unchecked ego leads to disasters. The practice of meditation, especially Sudarshan Kriya, helps cleanse the mind and emotions, enabling one to respond with clarity rather than reacting impulsively from a place of arrogance. That's insightful. Another recurring theme in the series is loyalty, often shown in an extreme form, which sometimes leads to poor decision making. How can art of living principles guide us in creating balanced relationships in politics and life? Loyalty is beautiful when it is rooted in integrity, but when it is blind, it can lead to disastrous outcomes. Gurudev often emphasizes the importance of inner strength and values like truthfulness, compassion, and equanimity. When a person is centered in themselves, as we achieve through regular sadhana or spiritual practices, their loyalty becomes a conscious choice rooted in the welfare of all, not just personal gain. Practices like Upanayanam, Sandhya Vandanam, and Trikal Sandhya, the daily rituals of invoking higher energies through prayer and chanting, help us stay grounded in these values. These practices instill a sense of responsibility toward humanity and encourage us to make decisions that reflect the greater good, not just alliance to one individual or cause. That's a beautiful way of looking at loyalty. Now, in the series, we see the constant tension between idealism and pragmatism, often with disastrous results. How can Art of Living's focus on inner wisdom help in finding the balance between the two? This tension is natural in any field, especially politics. Idealism and pragmatism must coexist for a balanced life. Gurudev's teachings emphasize that when you meditate regularly, your inner wisdom sharpens. You are able to see both the ideal and practical aspects of any situation, making decisions that are wise and compassionate. Sudarshan Kriya in particular helps you clear the mental clutter and find solutions that benefit all. When we practice the Gayatri Japa or the chanting of sacred mantras, we connect with higher energies which align us with clarity and calmness. This in turn enhances our ability to balance ideals with the pragmatic needs of the present moment. Just as in the thick of it shows how characters who are too idealistic end up isolated from reality. By aligning our actions with the greater sense of purpose, we can navigate these challenges gracefully. That's incredibly relevant. Speaking of balance, the thick of it often shows characters avoiding self reflection, leading to repeated mistakes. In the art of living community, self reflection is a core component of growth. How do tools like meditation and pranayama help in cultivating this quality? Gurudev often teaches that meditation is a form of self reflection. It allows us to go beyond the mind's chatter and connect to our deeper selves. When we meditate, we witness our thoughts and emotions without judgment, enabling us to see patterns both positive and negative. This awareness is the first step toward transformation. In the thick of it, characters who avoid self reflection, like Peter Manian, become blinded by their own assumptions through practices like pranayama and Gayatri Japa. We cultivate a sense of inner stillness and clarity. When the mind is calm, self reflection becomes natural and we are able to course correct before we make errors. These practices, especially when combined with regular spiritual practices like Agni Karyam or fire rituals, help in purifying our intentions and actions, leading to more mindful decision making. That's very true. Another challenge in the thick of it is public scrutiny, which often leads to rash decisions. Gurudev often speaks about equanimity in the face of external pressure. How can art of living tools help leaders handle such pressure with grace? Public scrutiny is indeed a major challenge for leaders, and it can easily destabilize them. The core of Gurudev's wisdom is equanimity, the ability to remain calm and unaffected by external situations. Sudarshan Kriya and Pranayama play a pivotal role in cultivating this inner balance. These practices soothe the nervous system, reduce stress, and foster resilience in the face of pressure. In addition, daily spiritual practices like Sandhya Vandanam or Trikal Sandhya keep us connected to our deeper self. By regularly engaging in these practices, a leader develops a steady mind and heart. This enables them to respond to public scrutiny with calm and clarity rather than reacting impulsively, just like the calmness we observe in Gurudev's demeanor. This inner stability allows one to handle external chaos without being swept away by it. That's beautiful. Now, the thick of it also touches on the theme of conflict, which is almost always handled destructively. In Art of Living, conflict resolution is a significant focus. How can the techniques of the Art of Living help in resolving conflicts constructively, especially in high pressure environments? Conflict is inevitable, but the way we handle it determines the outcome. Gurudev's teachings emphasize nonviolent communication, active listening, and seeing the common humanity in others. The practice of Shakti Kriya and meditation helps in fostering empathy and reducing the emotional charge that often accompanies conflict. When we meditate, we move from a place of reactivity to response. This shift in consciousness is crucial in resolving conflicts. So, Darshan Kriya particularly helps in releasing suppressed emotions, allowing individuals to engage with others from a calm and composed space by practicing the principle of Sainyam Sadhana of level 1 and level 2. Individuals learn to control their impulses and speak from a place of understanding rather than aggression. In the thick of it, many conflicts escalate because characters are driven by ego and emotional turmoil. If these characters practice emotional regulation through practices like pranayama or Shakti Kriya, they would find more peaceful and constructive ways to manage conflicts. That's a great approach. Lastly, we see many characters in the thick of it losing sight of the bigger picture in favor of short-term gains. How can the art of living principles help leaders stay focused on long-term goals? Gurudev speaks about living with a sense of purpose and working for the collective good. This is where regular spiritual practice plays a crucial role. Practices like Upanayana, initiation into sacred knowledge, and Trikals and the other three times daily prayers ground the individual in a sense of divine purpose. When we are connected to a greater vision, we are less likely to get lost in the distractions of day to day politics or quick wins. Meditation helps sharpen the mind, making it easier to see beyond immediate results and focus on the larger impact. By staying grounded in our inner self, leaders can consistently reassess their values and decisions, ensuring that every action aligns with their long-term goals. This is in stark contrast to the chaos in the thick of it, where characters often act impulsively without thinking of the long-term consequences. It's clear that the tools and teachings of the art of living can offer profound insights and practical solutions for leaders and individuals navigating high stakes environments like politics. Thank you for sharing your wisdom with us today. It's been my pleasure. The wisdom from His Holiness Gurudev Shri Shri Ravi Shankar offers a timeless and universal approach to managing the complexities of life, both personal and professional. By incorporating practices like meditation, Sudarshan Kriya, and others into our daily lives, we can navigate the challenges of the modern world with grace, wisdom, and compassion. Thank you once again for this enlightening conversation. I'm sure many people will benefit from these valuable insights. Before we wrap up, let's touch on one more crucial element. In the thick of it, we often see characters struggle with burnout and mental fatigue due to their relentless pressures of their work. How can the art of living technique specifically help in preventing burnout and maintaining mental and emotional well being in such high pressure environments? Burnout is a real and escalating issue, particularly in high pressure environments like politics, business, or any leadership role. His Holiness Sri Gurudev Shri Shri Ravi Shankarji always emphasizes the importance of maintaining balance, which can only come through proper mental, emotional, and physical self care. Regular practices like Sudarshan Kriya are incredibly effective in revitalizing the body and mind. This powerful breathing technique not only detoxifies but also deeply rejuvenates, allowing practitioners to release accumulated stress and tension. Pranayama or advanced breathing exercises also plays a crucial role in energizing the body and calming the mind. It's not just about managing stress, it's about building resilience so that the pressures of work don't overwhelm us. When we practice pranayama or Sudarshan Kriya, we are essentially recharging our mental and emotional batteries over time. This allows us to handle stressful situations with a much more calmer and clearer mind. Additionally, practices like Gayatri Japa or Trikal Sandhya help create an emotional anchor when you are grounded spiritually, even in chaotic environments like those in the thick of it. You don't lose sight of your inner peace. This sense of inner stability acts as a buffer against the daily challenges and mental strain. It's like building an emotional shield that allow us to interact with the world without being overly affected by external pressures. That's a very holistic approach. One of the things that stands out in the thick of it is how quickly situations escalate due to miscommunication or lack of clarity. In the context of art of living, what role does clear communication play in both resolving conflicts and ensuring smoother operations, especially in high stakes environments? Clear communication is one of the cornerstones of effective leadership, and it's something that the art of living practices help cultivate. Gurudev often emphasizes the importance of speaking with clarity and compassion. In high pressure environments, there's a tendency to communicate from a place of stress, anger, or frustration. As we see with characters like Malcolm Tucker, this type of communication driven by emotional outbursts or unchecked egos leads to confusion, conflict, and even deeper misunderstandings. Through daily practices like pranayama and meditation, we can cultivate a calm, focused mind. This mental clarity helps us communicate in a more composed, coherent, and effective manner. When the mind is calm, our words become more thoughtful and our communication becomes a tool for peace rather than conflict. Moreover, when we practice nonviolent communication, as Gurudev does, we speak from a place of empathy. We are able to listen more deeply and respond from a place of understanding rather than reacting impulsively. In the thick of it, so much of the chaos could have been avoided and prevented if characters took a moment to pause, reflect, and communicate with intention. Furthermore, practices like Sandhya Vandanam and Gayatri Japa offer an opportunity for reflection and alignment. When we take the time to align our energy with the divine, our communication becomes more authentic and grounded. This leads to better relationships and decision making both in the workplace and in personal life. That's such a powerful perspective on communication. Now, the thick of it frequently shows leaders who are disconnected from their teams, often making decisions without truly understanding the realities on the ground. In the art of living, there is a deep emphasis on servant leadership and leading with compassion. How do these principles apply to the dynamics we see in the series? This is a very important point. The thick of it illustrates how leaders who are disconnected from their teams, such as Peter Manion, can make poor decisions due to their detachment and inability to understand the perspectives of others. They end up alienating their teams and losing touch with reality. His Holiness Gurudev Shri Ravi Shankarji speaks extensively about servant leadership. True leadership is about serving others, understanding their needs, and working toward the collective well being. When we practice servant leadership, we cultivate a sense of humility and compassion. Leaders who practice this are approachable, empathetic, and invested in the welfare of their team. This creates an environment of trust and mutual respect through techniques like meditation and Sudarshan Kriya. Leaders can center themselves, allow them to remain grounded and connected to the people around them. This inner connection enables them to understand the needs, concerns, and emotions of their teams, allowing for better decision making. When leaders lead with compassion, they inspire loyalty and teamwork, which is essential in any workplace. In contrast, characters like Malcolm Tucker rely on fear and intimidation to control their teams, which may work in the short term but leads to dysfunction and burnout. Art of Living's approach encourages leaders to lead by example, inspiring others through their actions, kindness, and wisdom. This builds a positive work culture and long term success. I love the concept of servant leadership. It really shifts the perspective on power and authority. Lastly, in the thick of it, characters often make decisions without considering the long term consequences. They are driven by short term gains and immediate outcomes. How can Art of Wings' emphasis on mindfulness and spiritual growth help leaders stay focused on the greater good and make decisions with a long term vision? In the thick of it, we see how short sighted decision making causes problems that snowball into much larger issues. The lack of foresight leads to misunderstanding, past struggles, and ultimately personal and professional failure. This is where mindfulness and spiritual growth play a crucial role. Gurudev teaches that when we connect with our deeper self through practices like meditation, pranayama, and Gayatri Japa, we align ourselves with a higher purpose. This spiritual grounding provides clarity and helps us make decisions that are not driven by immediate gratification, but by a long term vision that benefits all. Mindfulness allows us to pause before reacting. It reflects on the impact of our decisions and to make choices that are aligned with our values. By incorporating practices like Trikal Sandhya, 3 time daily prayers, leaders can establish a daily ritual of reflection and recalibration. This helps them tune into their higher consciousness and make decisions that are in harmony with the collective well being and long term goals. When a leader is rooted in spirituality, they make decisions that reflect wisdom and compassion rather than reacting out of fear or desire for quick success. The teachings of the art of living enable leaders to see beyond the present and consider the long term consequences of their actions. This leads to decisions that are thoughtful, intentional, and grounded in the greater good. This has been an incredibly enriching conversation exploring how the wisdom of His Holiness Gurudev Sri Sri Ravi Shankar Ji and the tools of the art of living can be applied to leadership lessons from the thick of it. It's clear that by cultivating inner peace, mindfulness, and servant leadership, individuals can navigate the complexities of their personal and professional lives with grace and wisdom. Absolutely. Gurudev's teachings are not just about personal transformation, they offer a blueprint for collective well being, harmonious relationships, and effective leadership. When we integrate these tools into our life, whether in politics or in any other field, we create a space for growth, compassion, and lasting success. Thank you for this beautiful opportunity to share these insights. Thank you so much for your time and wisdom. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. And I believe our viewers will find these teachings incredibly valuable in navigating both the complexities of modern life and the lessons from the thick of it, Jagadev. Jagodev, as we continue to reflect on the fascinating intersection of the thick of it and the art of living teachings, one thing that stands out is the personal transformation each individual can undergo when they take responsibility for their actions. In the thick of it, we witness the relentless pursuit of power and control, often at the expense of personal growth. His Holiness Gurudev Shri Shri Ravi Shankar Ji often speaks about self transformation as the key to improving not just ourselves but the world around us. How can the principles of self transformation, particularly through art of living practices, help individuals in positions of power develop into better, more compassionate leaders? That's a great question. Transformation truly starts from within, and Gurudev's teachings emphasize that only through self awareness can we transform our external reality. In the thick of it, many of the characters are driven by their own agendas and egos. They are disconnected from their deeper selves, which leads to behavior that is more reactive than reflective. Through practices like Sudarshan Kriya, meditation, and pranayama, individuals develop the capacity for self reflection. These practices help us go beyond the noise of daily life and reconnect with the core of who we are. When a person is centered, they naturally make decisions that are aligned with a higher purpose, compassionate, thoughtful, and for the greater good. In the thick of it, we often see leaders who are far removed from this inner balance, and that is why their actions lead to chaos and failure. When leaders practice self transformation, they not only improve their own mental and emotional health, but also create a ripple effect on those around them. As they become more grounded on their own being, they inspire others to do the same. This shift in consciousness is the first step toward more compassionate and effective leadership, which can be transformative for any organization or government. The concept of Sanyam Sadhana of level 1 and level 2 of self discipline plays a vital role here. By practicing Sanyam Sadhana of level 1 and level 2, leaders can stay committed to their values, avoiding the temptations of instant gratification, which often leads to short sighted decisions. True transformation comes from within, and art of living techniques provide the perfect tools to initiate that journey into the